Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into something important for basically everyone in tech. We're talking about making your GitHub presence, really work for you. You've sent it a great mix of sources, official GitHub docs, some sharp blog posts from boot.dev, Algo Academy, underdog.io, DV community, Retsy, even stuff for AI job hunters and how-tos on READMEs. So our mission today is to pull out the key things, the essentials that give you an edge, whether you're job hunting right now or just want your work to look good.
Exactly. Think of it as like the fast track to a really effective GitHub profile.
hmm
It's way more than just a place to dump code, right? It's a living portfolio. It can actually open doors.
And why should you, listening in, really care about this? Well, because in tech today, let's face it, your GitHub is often the first place people check out to see what you can do. It's a dynamic showcase. These sources we've got give you a pretty solid strategy to make sure your profile gets noticed, for the right reasons, that your hard work gets seen, and basically that you stand out to collaborators and, yeah, to employers too.
And we have a really interesting mix of info here. We've got the official line from GitHub itself, the best practices, then these blog posts coming at it from different angles, bootcamp perspective, a job platform view, the developer community, and even that tailored advice for AI roles, which is pretty specific. Plus, the really practical stuff on how to write a good README. It covers a lot of ground.
Okay, let's kick things off then. First impressions count, right? So the profile page itself, your digital handshake maybe?
Precisely. It's that very first contact point. And just like meeting someone or looking at a CV, some things just hit you straight away.
Right. Visuals first, the profile picture. Seems like everyone agrees you need one.
Yeah, that's consistent across the board. Professional or kind of brand aligned. Doesn't have to be super formal like a studio headshot, but clear, well lit. Something that looks like you, basically. Some suggest a good candid shot can actually feel more approachable. But the main thing is, get rid of the default icon. Show you're a real person.
Makes sense. Okay, what about the username? If you picked one ages ago, should you maybe rethink it?
Could be worth it, yeah.
Yeah.
Needs to be professional, obviously. Easy to remember. And ideally, consistent with your other online stuff, like LinkedIn or your website, if you have one. An old, maybe slightly embarrassing username that can definitely hurt that first impression.
And then the bio, that little description under your name, what's the aim there?
Think elevator pitch. Short and sweet, high-level snapshot, skills, interests, maybe where you want to go next. Good bios often mention specific things you focus on. A blank bio or something super vague, it's just a missed chance, really. Even just one good sentence makes you more memorable.
Okay, now this sounds like a potential game changer. The profile README. That's different from a normal project README, isn't it?
Exactly. It's a specific GitHub feature. You create a repository with the exact same name as your username, and the README file in that repository, it shows up right on the top of your main profile page.
Yeah.
Big and prominent. Above your pinned projects. It's like prime real estate on your profile.
Wow, okay, so how do you use that space effectively? The sources suggested treating it like a front page for your developer portfolio.
That's a perfect way to put it, yeah. Start with a quick intro, who you are, your background, then definitely showcase your top technical skills. Bullet points work well, or those little badges you see everywhere. List your languages, frameworks, tools, the stuff you're good at.
And what about experience? Do you put your whole job history there?
You can definitely add an experience section. Doesn't have to be just tech roles either. Mentioning things like communication skills, teamwork. That adds value too. It's also a good spot to maybe add a little context to your BEF projects, the ones you'll pin just below it. And yeah, if you've got any awards or big achievements, listen there.
There was an interesting point about automating updates to this profile README. How does that work?
Oh yeah, that's clever. It's a great way to actually show your skills. The example, use GitHub Actions, that's GitHub's automation tool, and some Python scripting, to automatically update part of the README. I think it was like a countdown timer. Shows you've got initiative, you can solve problems, automation tools.
Yeah.
All good stuff. It's a little taste of, continuous integration running tasks automatically.
Okay, moving from the profile page, let's talk about showing off your actual code, your repositories. Pinning seems to be the big thing here.
Such a simple feature, but yeah, really powerful for directing attention. GitHub lets you pin, up to 6 projects right at the top. So visitors immediately see the work you're most proud of or the stuff that's most relevant to what you're aiming for.
So how do you pick those 6? And does the order matter?
Good questions. The sources say, think about relevance first, what fits the jobs or industries you're interested in. Also, pick projects that show some complexity, good code quality, decent documentation. Recent activity doesn't hurt either.
Yeah.
And yes, order definitely matters. Put your strongest, most relevant stuff first. People might only glance at the top 2 or 3.
And the types of projects. Focus on one thing or show some range.
The consensus seems to be, show your versatility. Mix it up a bit. Maybe a full-stack app, something front-end, something back-end, maybe data analysis, a mobile app, even a command line tool. Shows you're adaptable, you have a broader skill set, paints a fuller picture.
Okay, so someone clicks into one of your pinned repos. What hits them first?
The README file. And honestly, all the sources hammer this point home. The README is absolutely crucial. It's the doorway to understanding your project. It gives that first impression of the code, sure, but also your communication skills.
Why so vital? What absolutely has to be in a good README?
Right, think about explaining it to someone who knows nothing, right? Needs a clear title, a description, what it does, why you built it, what problem it solves maybe. You absolutely have to list the technologies you used. Installation steps are critical. Make them step-by-step, easy enough for a relative novice. And usage examples. Show how to run it, what output to expect. Super helpful.
Visuals too, right? Screenshots, GIFs.
Definitely. Big plus. Screenshots or even better, short animated GIFs showing it working. That makes a huge difference. Seeing it is way better than just reading about it. And for open source stuff, clear contribution guidelines and a license are essential.
Yeah.
Oh, and licenses always include one. That came up a lot. It just clarifies how people can use your code.
Was there a sort of template or structure suggested? Key headings.
Yeah, a solid structure helps. Usually includes title, description, technologies used, installation, usage, then maybe screenshots, a link to a live demo if possible, contributing section if it's open for that, and like we said, always license information.
Any quick tips for making a README really, excellent?
Keep it clear and concise. Simple language, avoid jargon if you can. Badges are good build status. Test coverage, they show info quickly. If it's front end, definitely link to a live demo. Lets people play with it instantly. Keep it updated. If the project changes, update the README. And formatting is your friend. Headers, lists, code blocks, make it easy to scan.
And making those live demos easy for front-end stuff?
GitHub Pages is brilliant for that. You can host static sites right from the repo. Super easy way to get a live demo up without messing with separate hosting.
Okay, one last thing on the repos themselves. Beyond the README, any other details to fill in?
Yeah, on the repo's main page, there's that About section. Put a short, snappy description there. Link to a live site if it's deployed. And crucially, add topic tags, like keywords. Helps people find your project when they search on GitHub. Use relevant ones.
All right, let's shift gears. Let's talk about the code itself. Quality, maintenance. Recruiters look at this stuff, apparently.
Oh, absolutely. Your code is your technical demonstration. Clean code is fundamental. That means, consistent style, using good descriptive names for variables, functions, adding comments where needed, but not overdoing it. Following style guides for the language. Trying to simplify complex bits, getting rid of redundant code. Basic good practice. One source mentioned using things like GitHub Copilot to help write cleaner code, which is interesting.
Commit messages. Sometimes an afterthought, right? But are they actually important?
Very. They tell the story of your changes. Short, descriptive messages explaining the what are best. Aim for that sort of 10 to 70 character guideline. It shows you can communicate your process, focus on tasks, useful for others, and for you later on.
And showing your code actually works. Tests.
Yeah, unit tests are pretty crucial. Shows you care about correctness, robustness, and taking it further, setting up CI continuous integration using GitHub Actions or similar tools. That building and testing whenever you push code, that's a big plus. Shows good engineering practice. Putting a little build test status badge in your README is a nice visual indicator too.
And finally, for maintenance, keeping things up to date.
Dependencies, yeah. Keep them updated, mostly for security, but also stability. Tools like Dependabot can automate this. They'll make pull requests when there are updates. It shows you're proactive about keeping your projects healthy and secure long-term.
Okay, let's talk activity. Being active, engaged on GitHub, how much does that matter?
A fair bit, actually. That contribution graph, the green squares, people do look at it. Consistent commits suggest you're actively coding, learning. Doesn't have to be every day, but big gaps might raise eyebrows. And remember, it only shows your public activity.
What about contributing to open source? Is that a big deal?
Huge deal. Highly valued. It shows you can collaborate, communicate in a team, take initiative. Don't feel you have to make massive changes straight away. Small fixes, improving docs, it all counts. It shows you're willing to jump in. Look for those good first issue tags, maybe. And definitely mention significant contributions on your profile, README, or portfolio.
And personal side projects, do they count for activity too?
Definitely. They're great for showing you're self-motivated, passionate about coding outside of work or school, shows you're exploring new things, constantly developing skills.
There was a warning, though, about, like, fake commits just to green up the graph.
Yeah, avoid that.
Yeah.
Creating dummy commits just looks artificial. Recruiters and hiring managers care more about the quality of your work and genuine engagement, not just the number of green squares. Focus on meaningful stuff.
Okay, specifically for job seekers, maybe especially in AI, any particular optimization tips?
Yes, definitely. First, tailor what you highlight. If you want a front-end job, pin your best React or Vue projects. For AI, focus on relevant ML, NLP, computer vision projects, whatever fits. Align it with the skills they want.
What else for AI folks?
Really showcase problem solving. Use project descriptions, commit messages, explain why you did things, the problems you tackled. And for AI, it's important to balance theory with practice. Don't just have theoretical stuff. Show projects where you applied it, tangible results. And yeah, like for any job search, maybe hide those really old, perhaps slightly embarrassing repos. Make them private. Quality over quantity, always.
How about getting noticed more generally, getting stars on your repos?
Yeah, stars are like social proof, testimonials from other developers. How to get them? Well, mainly by having high-quality projects people find useful or interesting. Good documentation helps. Clean code. Then promote it a bit. Share on social media, forums, blog posts. Collaborating with others also boosts visibility.
And the most basic way to get noticed in a job search.
Sounds obvious, but you have to actually link to your GitHub. Put the link clearly on your resume, your LinkedIn, your personal website. Make it easy for people to find it.
This feels like something you need to keep working on, not a one-off task.
Exactly. It's ongoing. You should periodically review your profile, update info, check your pinned repos, make sure readies are still accurate, and consistent contributions, even small ones, keep it looking fresh and show you're still active and growing.
Lastly, any common mistakes, definite things to avoid.
Yeah, a few were mentioned. Don't pin forks where you haven't really done anything significant. Show your own work. Be really careful about personal projects that might have, questionable or offensive content. That's a huge red flag. And we keep saying it, but repositories without a license include one. It avoids ambiguity and encourages use.
This has been incredibly useful. So much practical advice packed in there. What's the main takeaway, the big picture?
I think the core message is your GitHub profile is a seriously powerful tool. It's more than just code storage. It's how you showcase your skills, your journey, your passion, really. If you focus on making it professional, informative, highlighting your best work, and engaging with the community, you really do boost your visibility and open up more opportunities.
Great summary. And on that note, here's a final thought for you, our listener, to maybe mull over. Try thinking of your GitHub profile not just as like a static archive, but as a dynamic story, the story of your growth as a developer. What story does your profile tell right now? And what could it tell? What's maybe one small change you could make even today to start shaping that narrative a bit better? Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.